Welcome to episode 51 of PuckPod by BD Sports. I'm Brian. I'm here with David and Christian. We always start things out the same way. Dave, how was your week?
It was pretty good. It was lots of work again. Now I'm back into the swing of things after, my Vegas vacation. Uh, yeah, I was at work most of the week and watching hockey. It's going to be like that, I think, for at very least the next like 2 months.
Christian?
Pretty good week. Lots of work as usual. Went to a hockey card show yesterday. I don't even know what the actual name of the show really is, but it's at the International Center by the airport here in Toronto. I've gone I don't know, probably like 3 or 4 times. This is probably the first time I've gone since COVID. But my dad goes, my uncle goes, so I tagged along with them just because I didn't have work until the afternoon. Saw some cool cards. Saw like a Gretzky, lots of Gretzky rookie cards. And depending on what they're graded as, the price of them fluctuates a lot. Like I saw like Gretzky cards that were rated as a 1, and that goes for I think it was like 500 or $600. Then I saw one other guy had his ungraded, and he just had it sitting there, and his asking price just said 1 mil. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Just some guy
So that could be like graded back as like a 1 and worth $500, or that could be graded
probably
as like
the dude probably knows what he's talking about. Like it might be like anywhere from like an 8 to a 10, maybe. I don't know.
okay.
But I think the most expensive Gretzky card went for like 1 mil or something like a couple of years
So you're
ago.
not getting a discount there. But you could probably work them
Yeah,
down
no.
though a little bit. Be like, about
Could you imagine
750.
negotiating that there? Like
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he had that one card there, and then beside that, there was like cards where it was like $20, $1.50, $50, 1 mil,
1
1
mil.
mil. So that was
If it's not
hilarious.
graded, the chance it's not real in that
Well,
sense.
like I said, I think the guy, if you had a conversation with him, he'd probably be like, dude, this is my prized gem of the
Possession.
collection. You can take a look at it. Like the centering's good, everything's good. He probably thinks it's the one, but you gotta like sell it. Like it doesn't matter unless A, you get it graded, or B, you sell it. And
His
I don't know why. I guess he's afraid to grade it.
his biggest mistake, I'll be honest with you, is naming the price on the card. His thing should be like, for inquiries, like talk
Yeah.
to
No,
me
but David,
basically.
it's
You know
it
what I
was
mean?
like you're saying, like basically any card you can negotiate
Yeah,
with anyone. Like if there's a card for, like I said, $1.50, I'll do it for $1.
75 cents.
Right? Like, yes, like that happens. That happens. The only card I was looking for, because I'm not huge into it, I don't know values or anything. I just wanted a Matthew Nyes rookie card, but he's
Just for the
pretty
vibe.
expensive right now. Just for the vibes, number 23, my favorite number. I'm like, I gotta have his rookie card. He was going for like $80. I was looking for 50. One guy had it for 50, but he was holding it for someone else. And
Oh,
so I
boo.
was I was late on the boat for that one. Walked past
Okay.
Marcel Dion. That was cool. That's about it though. Fun little time.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Same old week for me.
I was just
School.
about to ask you, Bri. How's your week been?
You know what I'm gonna say.
Sometimes
School.
Brian skips over his week, eh? Like I don't physically ask Brian because I just assume he's gonna tell us about his week. But there's some weeks where you're just like, okay, let's get right into it. It's like, oh,
Yeah, he's like,
it
I
wasn't a
didn't
good
do
week.
anything. Yeah, it was one of
Sometimes,
those.
man, like I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I was like ass rammed to school, and then the Capitals were shit, and I was just like, man, like I do
Oh,
not want to.
it just compound. It literally compounds everything. If
Oh yeah.
you can't tell me if your favorite team is like god awful, that it doesn't make it makes everything in your life, like if there's anything that can slightly tick you off, it makes you feel so much like worse. Oh, I
Well, well, Dave, with you, it's a times 4 multiplier.
yeah, yeah. times 400 multiplier
Jesus Christ.
Okay,
everywhere I look.
let's get into the next topic. Dave, you've had
Yeah,
some fun last night. Well, not last night. I want to
this
say
past week.
past week with the success of those AI TikToks, man. Those are hilarious. The best one was Pasternak. That was my favorite one.
That was a really good one. So I'll start things off with this because I didn't get to say this. Shout out to Christian for that idea because that's a banger. That was like
Yes, it was.
I literally saw
Dude.
I saw money signs in my eyes when he was like he started putting in like
I was literally
the
just bored. Like it wasn't like, guys, we should maybe do some of this. It was literally just, I'm bored. Let me go on Bing chat and be like, make me a yarn crocodile
Croc.
in a Leafs jersey, and then just like, hey guys, look at this cool little thing I made, and then you guys are like, this is TikTok content. I'm like, oh
Also,
yeah,
shout out to Yarn Croak, because
Go.
if
Go.
we hadn't come up with that nickname for him, I don't think we would have
It's true.
done that, basically, right? Because
Snowball.
that was your original idea, was the yarn crocodile type of like thing, right?
It's funny how I said like yarn crocodile, but really I could have just said stuffed animal. Like it's like any stuffed animal is made of yarn. I don't know why I
basically.
specified
Well,
a
that
crocodile of yarn.
That
but
looks like a
anyways.
stuffed animal. Like if you look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
it, it looks like a plush doll.
It looks like your grandma knitted it last night or something,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But great idea. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have
We gotta get that
a few
patented.
more of them.
If anybody listening has ideas, throw them in the comments, and we'll get them made. We've got other ones ready to go, but send whatever ideas you've got.
Yeah, so the premise behind like the TikToks, basically, it's just like like NHL or nicknames. Like as we mentioned before, I don't think anybody has this nickname for Cali Yarncroak except for us three. I think we just made it. I haven't seen any single like person put this. So it's basically like the yarn emoji and the crocodile emoji, and that's anytime
genius, man.
every time he scores in our chat,
Or assist.
Yarncroak just like pops off. Like it's just Yarncroak spam.
Or it's it's like I don't know, Dave. If your mom calls you Dave, and then when she's pissed at you, she calls you Dave. It's kind of like how if we
no,
like
it's
her,
David.
Right?
David,
She calls me asshole.
Sorry,
actually, get it right.
But no, it's like that in the sense that if he does well, the emojis come out.
Yeah.
If he's bad,
No,
emojis
I'm
don't
calling
stay
his
full
out.
name.
If
It's
he's bad, it's
Yarncroak.
Cali. It's like what the hell,
Yeah.
Cali? It's not even yarn. No Yarncroak. But yeah, so we have like the nicknames for like everybody's got nicknames in the NHL, and a lot of them unfortunately are like shitty nicknames. Like I can't do anything with Connor Bedard because his nickname's Benzie. So unless I make like a big bed, I guess maybe that's the way we go with Benzie. So a lot of people just don't. But like you've got guys like we have Sid the Kid there. That was really good. McJesus.
Flower.
The flower, yeah. There's a few of them I'm thinking like legends of the past that we could do. And I'm also thinking maybe in the future we branch off into different sports, because the other sports around the world just seem to have some like grade A nicknames. If you look at like baseball alone, has some really, really good ones. And like me and Brian especially know like world football has some. You're taking nicknames from across cultures, like across the globe, basically, right? So look to our TikTok in the future to see more NHL generated AI nicknames.
That was fun. Yeah,
and world sports.
We're having a lot of fun with it, and technology is just getting better and better. So hopefully our stuff will get better and better with it. All right, let's move into the next topic. The Calgary Flames in flames. The big thing that let's kick off with is Nikita Zadorov requests the trade. Toronto, New Jersey, Carolina are the teams that might be in the mix. Vancouver too? Vancouver then as well. I just wanted to say that this is 500 IQ from the player himself. He's on his last year on a $3.75 million contract on a team that he knows is quote unquote in flames. So if that's the case, he obviously wants to switch teams on a better team and potentially get the bag in the summer. So well done,
Brian,
Nikita.
the important thing too, man, is the timing. When did he put in his trade request? After playing the Leafs.
Literally half an hour after the Leafs game was done.
Yeah.
Did they give him?
So
did he get on the plane?
Well, no, he did, because who did they play? They played Ottawa today. Yeah. I actually saw a turnover that he made that led to a goal. So
it was bad.
So Dan Milstein's got to be in shambles after saying, the best defenseman on the Flames doesn't get enough ice time, so he won't be staying around. That's an actual tweet that he had out there on the weekend.
Good Lord.
Yeah, well, that was funny.
In Milstein's defense, he's got to back his agent, his players. Right?
Yes, like they're all there to just absolutely just pump the value of their players. Every single agent. Milstein is one of the best at it, because honestly, it's sometimes like funny the way he does it because he just gasses them up big time. Like he did it with like Mikheyev. Remember there was the Mikheyev like campaign with the soup and whatever. Like there was the
Yeah,
he does a lot.
he brought on that because of the like
Yeah.
you know, it was good marketing to have, especially in Toronto, dude. You get a Campbell's deal in Toronto, like you're
it's
set
bank.
basically, right?
But
So we've got a pass with Milstein here in Toronto. It's a good pass too. It's actually good.
Yeah,
with Zadorov, you guys want to see him on your team?
I don't
wouldn't
think any
mind
team would
it.
say no to him. Yeah, I don't think a team is saying no. Like he's in every team's top 6 for sure.
Mhm.
I think my thing was just look at who else is available on the Flames. Tanev, Hanifin. So
Also,
just between those three, he's number 3 for me.
Did you hear the price that they wanted for him?
I have not.
It's at least a first plus is what they're asking for. I get it. You know, high trade value, high trade target. But I'm not spending a first plus on Nikita Zadorov. Probably not. What do we get Jake? What do we get Jake McCabe for?
Dude, we got Jake McCabe for a first and a second.
Was it 1 and 2 with the 50%
but you know what though?
retention?
He had 2.5 years of term plus 50% retained, right? Zadorov is a free agent, so we paid for the term because not only do we have him last year, we have him this year and next year at $2 million. Zadorov, you're getting just under $2 million at 50% retained for half a year, right? So that's different there. I don't know.
Is he better than McCabe?
He's better than I think he's better than McCabe, but like it's not like they're in the same realm
bracket,
right? Yeah,
top four guys.
You know what this reminds me of exactly though from last year? Gavrikov, like the timing and everything. I swear we heard the Gavrikov stuff this exact same time last year. And what was the price? What was the reported price?
A first.
First plus, yeah.
Right? And then what did we hear for like 3 months? The Bruins. It was so close with the Bruins, and then they ended up pivoting to LA. And I don't think they got a first, and they traded Gavrikov and Korpisalo. Maybe it was a first for both.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was definitely substantially less than what we thought was going to go the other way.
I think we're going to see the exact same thing here. The exact same thing.
Might have been both of them. And then who went back besides the first? I think it was
I don't think it was like players. Like I think it was all futures.
Just all picks.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Like I think Zadorov, there's a world where you get a late first for him. I don't want to be that team.
Yeah. And in context with Zadorov, it's just like he is probably the third defenseman out of the pile of 3.
It's like the 5th best on their team.
Yeah, you put Anderson and Uyghur ahead of him.
I was going to say in terms of the guys that Calgary should probably be looking to move off of. You know, we mentioned Hanifin before, and we mentioned who's the other guy that we mentioned?
Tanev. Like,
yeah,
I can hear out an argument that maybe Zadorov's better than Tanev.
Yeah,
maybe because he's younger, less injury prone. Like, I can hear that out, but still,
I would put them in roughly the same bracket.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know who's higher, who's lower, but I think like if Hanifin's there, and you're willing to part ways with a first plus, wouldn't you want to go with Hanifin instead? Like,
if that's the case, what's their ask for Hanifin?
Well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, it's probably some insane thing, man. I don't know. But what makes me laugh too is the one evidence of trade history we have with Conroy, Craig Conroy,
Kevin
is is the Toffoli trade, which everyone said wasn't enough in return. So I don't know. He doesn't have a history yet of getting good returns back. So we'll see about that. On the Flames. Yeah, he sniped.
He scored. I think he scored. Yeah, he scored in the shootout against us, right?
Yeah, it was a nice goal. On the Flames topic, did you guys see all the clips of Huberdeau on the bench in that Nashville game?
Listen, I'm not a fan of the guy, but that makes me upset. That makes me sad. Like I'm not his like number one supporter, but seeing him like head down on the bench like midway through the second period, and he wasn't coming off a shift, like a 2.5 minute shift, I was like, ooh.
I don't know what the problem is. Like, it's not the coach anymore. We know that.
Well, maybe I don't know. I think it's like,
I don't think it's the coach. I think it's on him at this point. But I think like it's within him to make the changes necessary. I think he's been a little stubborn, and I think maybe he just doesn't know how to adapt to the new system yet. Because I saw someone break it down. I forget who it was. I saw someone break it down where if you look at specific plays when he was with Florida, they just worked because his teammates were in the right positions. Not in the right positions, but he would make passes to teammates based off of the system. And then there's exact clips of him on the Flames trying to make those same plays, but because the system is different, those players
It doesn't
aren't in
work.
those spots, right? And so him just instinctively, it's like, this has been working for me for 8 years. Let me just make this pass because that's where my teammate usually is. The Flames are not there. But that's on Huberdeau though, right? Like if you're a good player,
You got to
as
Yeah.
Dave
adjust.
points out, and if you're not riding Barkov's coattails, you can adjust and you've got the passing ability. You should probably be able to figure it out, but he hasn't yet.
You guys think it's fixable?
Well,
There's
I
no
mean,
choice. Like he's
for
not going
7 years,
anywhere.
that has to be fixable, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you've got to make it fixable within the next 7 years. So maybe it's
It's
not
not.
this year.
It's not looking
I
good, man.
Do you just poach guys from the Panthers or something? Just any ex Panther, you bring them in.
go get
You go
Anthony
get
Duclair.
Duclair. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Go get like I don't know. I was gonna say go get Sasha Barkov. Not happening. I don't know.
Sam
Like
Reinhart's a free agent this year.
Sam
Go get
Reinhart.
Reinhardt. I think he's actually from Alberta, so
Were they not line mates? I think
No,
they
I
were
think
I
like
it's
think
Bennett.
so.
was it Bennett and Huberto that were line mates together? Because he
Wait, no,
wasn't,
you're
They
right.
would
You're right.
they always jumbled their top six because they had so many guys, right? Like for
and
Hagee,
that was
Barkov.
another thing too. Him and the Barkov connection was just on the power play.
Yeah.
Which I mean, granted, fair
The
enough.
PP merchants
They were
exist too. The power play merchants exist too.
they were great on the power play, right? But like he needs to be so much better 5-on-5, and I've constantly said it, dude. The guy is a secondary assist merchant. He's got to learn how to transition his game to work better as a play driver in Calgary because right now he's not. It would also help if Calgary had guys, who could probably score who could be a lock for 40 goals, right? I don't know if anybody on that team has that potential. Like, what are you topping out at? Maybe 35 with like Kadri on a good year, basically. I think we went through this before. I think Kadri's high is like 35 with the Abs that one year that
Yeah.
they were all world dominant, right? So, I mean, listen, and that's the last guy's problem. Like, that's brought on by the last guy, basically, right? And
Who's the last guy, Dave? Just
I don't
for
know. Not
reference.
sure. Not sure.
Name
Forget
rhymes
who that
with
is.
Chad B living or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, dude. They do have to make it work. I don't think you can punt on this player. I don't know who'd be willing to take the punt, basically, either. So
I also just wanted to ask you guys one more thing about the Flames. We talk about play drivers. Who on their team is a play driver?
Well,
well,
it's supposed to be Huberdeau.
supposed to be him, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. You're right though that like playmaker wise, there's not many guys. Like even like zone entry guys. Like Willie is a zone entry machine. Like I don't know who the zone entry machine is on Calgary. They've got a lot of like finisher types. Like Lindholm to me is a finisher. Manjapane is a finisher. Backlund's not a playmaker or a finisher. He's a defense first type of guy, right? Like I don't know. Pelletier when he's healthy, finisher. Coronado, finisher. They called up some kid, Connor Zary. He's actually been really good. He's got like 4 points in 4 games. Or he also looked like a finisher. I don't know. You're right. Maybe that's the what's up here.
All right, this is a little bit depressing. So let's get to a team that's on a bit of a high right now. The Vancouver Canucks. They are lighting the league up. As
Except
Cristian said
yesterday.
earlier, before we started
Yeah,
the
yeah. The league minus the Leafs, Brian. Get it right, man. Come on, come
That's
on.
true. I mean, if I'd rather be
We'll
in
get
their
into it
spot and lose
later.
the
We'll get
Leafs
into
than
our part
yeah.
later. Yeah.
But Canucks have been on fire. Pedersen, I asked you guys this last week. Would he get MVP considerations? There's a very good chance he does clear the trophies this year. I mean, it's still early, but MVP definitely in contention. Rick Tocchet probably in contention for Coach of the Year. Vezina, Demko, and Quinton Hughes for the Norris. They look good. Oh, and one more thing, I just wanted to shout out. The chemistry between Brock Besser and JT Miller has been on fire. I don't know if you guys picked up on when you guys watched the Canucks, but they look good.
Turns out Tocchet is the Miller whisperer, eh? He's getting him to actually like play some
to
defense.
do
At least
everything.
I haven't heard about like
He-
the JT Miller lowlights yet.
Yeah, he was on the ice for everything yesterday. 5-on-5, shorthanded, power play. Like, if they were like 4-on-4, if he might have started 3-on-3 as well. Like he's become the all situations type of player, and he had some he scored, right? He scored their first power play goal. Think he had another one go off like the post, or maybe it was like the crossbar from like in tight. Dude, he was like, that team came as advertised. Now, they couldn't put it away. Granted, they have a really, really high PEO right now, so their shooting percentage is like way, way, way above expectation. So that's the only thing I'm a little bit wary of. It's like, at some point that high shooting percentage has to come down. Like, it can't. Well, I mean, it could, but realistically, it's not going to stay at the level it is all year. Like, they had 3 straight games. I think it was like against the Sharks, against the Oilers, and there was another team in there where they had like 3 goals on their first like 6 shots or something ridiculous like that. So you can't expect that for a full 82. But they aren't also granted, what we saw yesterday, they aren't also the type of team to like just roll over and die like they probably were last year. So
they played a full 60 against us.
They did. The Leafs ended up stifling them yesterday, but they also look like the team, like the Leafs, where if they're down by multiple goals heading into like the second or the third, I'd probably bet on them to come back. So I will give them their praise, for as much as I don't think they're fully legit yet, but I
agree.
I think they're on the precipice of something greater than they were last year.
100%. I agree wholeheartedly that they're going to probably get one of those divisional spots, but that doesn't like guarantee that they're going to be even a favorite in whatever first round matchup they get, right? Like, let's say if they get the second spot and the third spot is the Kings, that's a really tight
That's a
series.
tough match.
Like, that's a really tough matchup. The Kings have gone toe to toe with the Oilers in the past 2 years. I know the Oilers are hot right now, but the past Oilers were pretty damn good, and Kings almost knocked them out twice. So I don't know who would take in that series. 3 things I wanted to mention. The PDO stat you brought up there, Dave. The other half of that is save percentage, right? So shooting percentage plus save percentage. Which end of that is more sustainable for the Canucks to keep up? I'd argue save percentage, right? Because Demko was looking otherworldly again.
He was legitimately fantastic yesterday.
Dude, how many times did he rob Willie? Just everyone, honestly. But
there was 3 times on one power play where he made like the cross crease like desperation save, and all 3 times he made it look seamless. Unbelievable.
So I think that's sustainable. So even if they can keep up that part of the PDO aspect, they're looking good.
You still have to score though.
Do have to score, but I trust their weapons, right? Like, even if they're not this good, we know that even they're if they regress to the mean, that's still like pretty good players offensively.
We know that they're gonna get goals with Pettersson, Miller, and Besser. Like, it's just gonna happen. And Quinton Hughes,
Kuzmenko, Mikheyev, I still like Garland, right? Hoglander, like there's secondary scoring there too. Suter's been scoring a lot too.
It's 4 goals,
yeah. So second thing I want to mention, so underrated, Filip Hronek. That trade last year, a lot of people were saying, "What the hell was that?" I remember, and listen, I really hope that we do have that I said it on record last year. But I like Filip Hronek because even last year in Detroit, he started off really hot. Like, he was getting very early Norris contention last year, and obviously died down. But he got traded to Vancouver. I want to say it was for a first and a second. He makes, I think, $4 million flat this year. He's right-handed, big dude. He's playing alongside Quinn Hughes. They've been a fantastic pair. And the greatest part is he's an RFA after this year. He's not going anywhere, right? He's not a UFA. He just makes that cutoff. I think he's like 25, just about 26, but they've still got his RFA rights this year, so they can negotiate with him on a long-term deal. Or even if they had to pivot because maybe he's got too high a price tag, you can trade him. You're not losing him for nothing. So they can get that value back that they gave up. So kudos to Bronick, really underrated guy around the whole league. And then Talkett, it has to be the biggest difference maker here because it's a very similar team to last year, right? I guess they did transform the defense. They brought in Susie and Cole, who we saw last night go toe to toe with the heavyweight champ Mark. Actually, no, Cole.
No,
Domi.
Max Domi.
Yeah, Cole Domi. We have real big heavyweights on the Leafs, Dave. Domi and Giordano. Let me tell you, two really big guys. Yeah,
average of 5'8" and like maybe at 185 soaking wet.
Yeah, man. Okay, so listen, they did transform the defense, but I still give lots of credit to Talkett. He's got to be the biggest change from this year to last year.
One other underrated point to that Hronek trade is that not only did they bring in somebody who's like a caliber who could play alongside Quinn Hughes, but they also were able to push Tyler Myers down the line.
Yes,
that was one of the biggest problems with one of the biggest problems with that defense last year was you had Quinn Hughes who could play 20, he could do 23 minutes a night. And anytime he steps on the ice, he makes great things happen. Not even good things, like fantastic things happen. The only problem was he was anchored alongside Tyler Myers, who plays 25 minutes a night. And anytime he steps on the ice, he makes nothing happen. And arguably, that's even worse than he makes bad things happen by proxy, more or less, right? Pushing him down to I think he only played 15 minutes yesterday. I think that's granted $6 million for that, not great. But if you're looking in a pure hockey sense, that's exactly where you want a guy like Tyler Myers right now.
Yeah. Question, because I just thought about this right now. McCabe or Hronek? We paid the same price for McCabe.
Hronek all day.
Wow, it's easily in hindsight is 2020.
Okay, but even last year though,
you're right.
I think maybe now here's where you're missing out. The cap doesn't work. That would have been the problem last year. Without McCabe, I have to take.
Yeah, there's the caveat, right?
Yeah.
There's another caveat.
Technically 2.5 seasons of $2 million for Jake McCabe. So yeah, sure. But
I'm nitpicking here because it wasn't really this wasn't really something that we could have done. Because the cap wouldn't have worked, but just the parallel I just thought of.
The other caveat was a guy that actually plays on Vancouver now, and it's Sam Lafferty.
Well, we got him in that deal too, right? So it's just a hypothetical.
So now they ended up with the better demon and additional fees. Funny how that works.
God damn it! Hey, listen. I know one burner fourth liner that scored last night. His name's not Sam Lafferty. Okay, it's Noah Gregor. So, anyways.
Okay, well,
I'm still happy for Vancouver because I like seeing them do well.
Honestly, I'm happy for them too, and I just wanted to just make the point. I'll make the point out about Talkett. Maybe sometimes once you lose the locker room, like with Boudreau last year, it's done. You see it a lot in soccer, and looks to me like they have a new face of respect, and they're actually listening. And this is happens when you have a full buy-in from a very talented squad.
I think the big difference between Talkett and Boudreau is accountability, right? I think Boudreau is too go-lucky, almost just like a buddy, a pal, right? They almost liked him too much, and they knew that if they did half-ass their shift, Bruce wasn't really going to scare them. Talkett, different story.
No, he puts the fear of God.
I don't know if you guys saw the story of Pettersson. I forget who they played before the Leafs, but he apparently had a bad game, even though he scored in it. And he called Talkett out of his office to apologize for playing a bad game. So that's how they feel about Talkett. And that's how Pettersson is, the alien that scores and says, I had a bad game.
What a player to have on your team. And let's talk about accountability. And I don't think this guy is holding his team accountable, and that's the Oilers. Jay Woodcroft. He's being backed and supported by the Oilers, but obviously I think they're 31st in the league right now. They lost to the Sharks too. I mean, who would have thought that?
Yikes.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
it. End the segment. End the segment. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know
Listen,
what
Yeah.
to say about
they
this
did
team.
win yesterday 4-1 against Seattle. Zach Hyman with the natural hat trick, the
First
natty
period
hat.
hat trick.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that. But still, on the whole, things haven't been good. They're second last in the league. After last
Yeah.
night, it probably changed, but 7 points, I think, on the season. I think the Canucks have like 20 something. Like it's not looking good there. This season is literally on the line. Like they're already talking playoffs in November in Edmonton. Like that's just interesting to think about. I don't know if firing Woodcroft really does much though. Like I think Woodcroft's gotten the most out of the Oilers in this era, like in the McDavid era. What coach has done better? Like
None.
they've looked the best in the
None of them.
past 2 years, right?
We
Exactly.
we talk about losing the locker room. Sometimes like does it look like they want to play for him in the sense, or does it look like they're listening to him right now?
Yeah. But you know what? This is the same conversation I bring up with like the Leafs when we talked in the summer about fire Keefe. Like I was still on the let's make a coaching change, but it's the next part of the conversation. Okay, who's the replacement? I do think the replacement matters. Like I don't think if you throw Glenn Gulutzin on as head coach, like I'm not at
No.
all confident in that. I've seen that movie before,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm not interested in that. So that's the thing, right? With Kiefer was like, I like Mitch Love. You guys have Mitch Love now, but I want to know who's the successor, and if there isn't one, then you keep Jay Woodcroft.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I think of it, and we can also talk about the accountability from like the GM, who
Made a bad
how do you
team.
fire? Yeah, but like how do you fire your coach? Where it's like, listen, Jay, I've got to fire you because the goalies I signed, or the one goalie I signed last summer for $5 million sucks. That's why I have to fire you. Does that make sense?
No.
And speaking
No.
of that goalie, he's not having a great time in the AHL either, unfortunately.
Yeah.
My God.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys saw, but he conceded like I think it was 3 goals or something like that.
It was
Oh, like
4 on
10
20
shots.
shots.
Yeah.
No, it's 4
Yeah.
on 15 or something like
I
Heartbreaking.
think you got it right, Dave. I think you got it right. 4 on
Like
20.
dude, at the end of the day, we talk about this with the Leafs, you know. Who built this team? This team was flawed to begin with. You know what I mean? It's always nice to have have all the cracks being papered over by your elite offense. And these like McDavid and Draisaitl, let's not kid ourselves around. Like I know they're having not the greatest start to the season, but they are like the elite of the elite offenses, right? And they've been able to basically drag a dead carcass of a team through, you know, the past 7 years, 8 years of Oilers hockey for the most part. They've also been able to carry this team to they made it to a Western Conference Finals. They made it to a couple second round appearances, and it's basically on the backs of those two guys. Let's, secondary options aside, like it's on those two guys, right? Now, when those two aren't firing on all cylinders, you start to see a lot of the cracks show. We made fun of the Cody Ceci signing signing Cody Ceci a couple years ago. We made fun of them bringing in Tyson Barrie and having a good year, but then flipping him for Matthias Ekholm. So that was a good trade. Signing a lot of like the Leafs alumni.
Spare parts.
Yeah. One of them did fantastic yesterday. The other one that we were talking about before, and Jack Campbell, is in the AHL, right? You're going to pay him $30 million to play with the Bakersfield, or is it the Bakersfield Condors that he's playing with?
Yeah.
How many like misses are on that? It's just like they are such a flawed team, and it's finally great to see them being exposed for what they are.
I'd argue they've been exposed outside of the past 2 years, almost every year, right? Like they were floundering before the past 2 seasons where they've done some decent things in the playoffs. But outside of that 1 year where Lucic scored the 30 goals and Pat Maroon was like a 20-goal scorer, and they lost to the Ducks, right? That was, I think, the second year with McDavid.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of floundering, and it's been a lot of the same problems despite different coaches and now a different GM, right? Like they just keep repeating the same mistakes. Like even when it was Mike Smith in net, how many shambolic turnovers did we see from him in the playoffs? There's the center ice goal by Rasmus Anderson on Mike Smith from a couple years ago. That
Yeah.
one always blows my mind.
In the 8-6 opening game, like
yeah, that insane game. So yeah, like I think we understand they got to make a move there. But they don't have the space really to do it.
Yeah.
This is them trying to make some space. You do get a little bit over a mil from the Campbell move. That's kind of really all they can do. They're stuck with the sins they've made in the past, and they've got to try and go forward. So name your goalie: Jake Allen, Jordan Binnington, UC Saros if you're insane. I don't know. There's guys. Are they available? That's a different question entirely. I don't know. I think Jake Allen could make sense, but you still gotta pull the trigger on that type
here's
of deal.
another thing too. If Ken Holland is calling you right now for your goalie, whatever
Yeah.
price you had in mind for your goalie, I'm
Double
doubling
it.
it. Because I know
Yeah.
these guys, if you're coming to me for your goalie, you are absolutely desperate. Whether that's, your third stringer, or that's UC Saros, right? Whatever price you had in mind, double it, triple it. Try to make it so unattainable because
They're so desperate right now.
they're gonna have to pay for it if they want some
Yeah.
stability.
You know what's really interesting too is in a big type of trade, they can't even use their first round pick right now. That would be like terrible. You can't do that. You cannot give up your first round pick when you're in like second or third last. So they have to try and make these deals with other assets, which they don't
Here's the
have too
thing.
much of because they don't have
They
great prospects.
they might have to bite the bullet to do that. They might have to give up a lottery pick in order to. Listen, I'm not saying it's
Like
right,
I know, yeah. This is the
But-
type of move they would make too.
it is that is exactly the.
Like I said before, I'll hear you out on it if it's like for UC Saros. And I can also see Barry Trotz making that trade. You're like, you'll give me a lottery pick? Like Barry Trotz would
Yeah.
love that. So yeah, that's the only scenario I could see that happening.
I know
Do
Nashville.
it,
I think they
Trotz.
said that they're committed to sign Saros long term, but if the Oilers are calling and they're offering first plus for Saros, you aren't like, listen, we're not
Give
going
Trotz an
anywhere this
offer he
year.
can't refuse.
Yeah,
And
we're not
then
going
and
anywhere this year.
the Predators are also the team with I think he's like a top. Isn't he like the number one rated goalie prospect right now?
Yeah,
Or besides Dustin Wolf.
Askarov, well, there's like Dustin Wolf, but he's up there still. He's still up there.
Like they have somebody lined up right after. Maybe
Yeah.
you just do it and start the rebuild just a little bit early. Well,
Okay,
we'll
but
see.
you know what I just thought of? Maybe he's the guy because weren't they trying to trade him at the draft? What if they're
Maybe.
actually gonna? What if they pivot off of Askarov and then like Dave's saying sign Saros long term Askarov to the Oilers? But again, that's an unproven quantity. Like it's like
yeah.
I'm spitballing here, but yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't like trading goalies inside the same conference, regardless of the situation, just because it might bite you in the butt in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. First quick question. Yes or no quickly. Is this fixable for this season? Just for the season alone? Yes or no?
Okay. I think they can still get a wild card spot. I think they can still like squeak in. I think it is fixable because it's the exact same team as last year.
Dave?
Yeah. It's fixable just on the merits of if you have Draisaitl and McDavid performing at godlike levels, which they can do, but they're probably not. They're probably a little bit hurt right now. Yeah, it's fixable, but I'm leaning towards no.
Real quick, yesterday's win was the 8th win in since 2015, where McDavid and Draisaitl were pointless for the Oilers. So
Wow.
in the McDavid era, only the 8th win were no points for those
That
guys.
number's got to go up if they're gonna do well. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's just go on a quick break. We'll be right back.
Fun.
Okay, we are back from our break. Let's move into my team, the Capitals. In the last 10, we are currently 6-2-2. We have fixed the shambolic start that we had earlier this season. Are we back? Do you guys think we're back?
I think
that
more
might be.
most importantly is that Ovi's scoring again.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I thought about it last night. Caps win, Ovechkin scores twice. You can't really complain about that. I think that's the only reason why I'm watching in that sense now. Like that's like the main thing, just regular season goals from this one player. It's weird because you know how every team has their like little defensive system when they're up by a small lead when the other team pulls their goalie. Ours just fish it to this one guy and just let him shoot it down the ice, or let him sit into the halfway point, and we'll just try to feed it to him for the empty net goals. Every goal counts, right?
Tell us about the stat that he tied there. He tied the GOAT, Brian.
He
He's
tied
on the
Gretzky,
verge of doing it. He's doing it. He tied Gretzky in what's that?
empty net goals.
Oh,
GOAT.
the most important
ENG GOAT.
the most important goals.
New goal scoring GOAT. Empty
They
net goal scoring.
they count, right? Like I just as long
Oh,
as
they
the
do.
one to
Everything
as
counts.
long as the one to surpass Gretzky isn't an empty net goal, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good with that. But uh, on a brighter note, this team like we work like it's not messy anymore. It's not awful. We're
Yeah.
currently third place in the division with the second best point percentage in the division, only behind the Rangers, which means we're above the Devils, we're above the Canes.
Devils who you beat last night.
There, I saw a
No, the
weird.
Islanders last
We
night.
beat the Islanders last night.
Oh,
We
sorry.
played the
Yeah,
Devils
yeah.
That was the other night.
on Friday. Yeah, we had a back to back, which is a
Okay.
little bit weird. Well, I think you guys did too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in regards to the Devils, I think we have a 4-game win streak against them, which is pretty good given how they've been on the rise and we've been on the decline.
Interesting.
Also,
What's been the biggest part of the turnaround, Brian? Like at what player, or is it just like you're saying the system as a whole?
I think it might be the system as a whole. I think that we're starting to see it work in the sense that Carberry's getting his chess pieces to move the way he wants. And but I just wanted to give like a big shout out to our bottom six. Beck Mallenstein, Nick Dowd, Abe Kubel even. Our bottom six is
Wow.
flying.
I forgot he was there. I forgot he was still with you guys.
He got sent down to Hershey to start the year. Unfortunately, we buried him, but then we called him back up when Backstrom. But we just needed the body, right?
Yeah.
But I like the way this bottom six plays. They get the puck and right away they just throw it at the net.
Good.
Eventually it'll go in, or eventually you'll get a rebound that will lead to eventual goal.
You
But
said, Brian, yesterday you said your 4 center depth. It's you said it's Kuzi, Strome, who's your third C?
McMichael,
McMichael. And then Nick Dowd as your fourth C. Dude, there's a lot of teams that would kill for 4C depth like that. That I think that's like the backbone. If you guys are gonna have any type of success this year, I think that's your backbone. It's just a strong presence down the middle of every single line. Like all 4 of them are solid centers. And I'm kind of curious, how's Connor McMichael developing? Because he's kind of like the most unknown quantity on that of the 4. How do you think he's moving along?
he's been okay. He played on the wing for a bit to start the season, which I don't think was his forte because he naturally is a center. But he's doing the job, and I like the way he like kind of tries to drive the net from the left side. That's his bread and butter, from what I've seen. We talk about center depth with the Capitals. The thing is, um, I don't know. It's like it's weird because Kuznetsov unknown quantity in the sense that we don't know which Kuznetsov we're gonna get. Strome is consistently solid, but his scoring has kind of slowed down since the start of the year. And with McMichael, like you said, unknown quantity. But man, the backbone of the defensive structure is just Dowd. This guy is probably my second favorite fourth line center of all time. Like we always talk about like heroes. Jay
Number
Beagle
one?
number one.
Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna
JB.
be
I think it's gonna be
Lars
Lars
Eller, but
Eller.
he's the 3C.
He's a 3C.
Yeah.
But
Don't ask him that question though. He's got too many to pick from now.
I'll tell you what, Lars Eller's the 4C on Pittsburgh right now, and
Come on,
they're
what's this Brooks like slander, huh? How about him?
that one I'm glad we got rid of. But I don't know. I'm glad that this team is finally coming
Gelling.
together. Yes. I also just wanted to shout out our 3 goalies. I don't know which one of our 3 goalies is the best. They all just seem to be 6 or 7s out of 10s, but it works because, well, they're just consistently getting a solid performance out of them. Hunter Shepard, um, Charlie Lindgren, and Darcy Kemper. Kemper's out right now, and he makes the big bucks, but I don't know. I don't
To
know the difference.
Right. Your team's success has always been on a 6 or 7 out of 10 goalie, maybe an 8 out of
yeah.
10 when they are at their peak of their powers.
Right.
And you guys find ways to win. Your systems have always like supported those types of goalies, especially like with Braden Holtby, like the long time, cup winning goaltender for your team. As soon as he left Washington, he turned into a pumpkin, dude. Like the guy was genuinely like exposed in Vancouver. So maybe that's a credit again to your internal system for kind of like keeping that up. Because I don't know, like Hunter Shepard, Darcy Kemper, and Lindgren, like are any of them world saving like goalies?
No.
Probably not. But you don't need a world saving goalie, I think, in this. Well, maybe you do, but for some teams, I
Well,
don't
no,
think you
this is
need
how
that.
the Avs won with Kemper, right? The whole idea was that
Yeah,
he wasn't a world saving. That they
this
won
is how
despite Kemper, not because
the
of him.
the Golden Knights won as well.
Yeah, yeah. Now, like Hill performed better
Yeah,
than
it was
Kemper, but like it wasn't
next man up.
expected at all.
That was
Yeah,
the next man
exactly.
up. And that's kind of like how the Caps have to be. It has to be. If Kemper is not having it, the next man up needs to step up, whether that's Lindgren or whether that's Shepard. You guys have to have that mentality if you guys want to have any success going forward, basically.
I think so
Couple
too.
things, Bry. Cy Young for Dylan Strome, 6 goals, 0 assists right now. Didn't see that was going on. Yeah, he's got the 6-0 record right now.
His scoring's like slowed down a bit. I feel bad for him because we just keep shuffling him down up and down the lineup depending on like who needs a little bit of extra support.
He's the fixer right now.
Yeah, the Band-Aid, and I just want to give him a chance to just gel because at the beginning of the year he was lights out with Phillips and Milano, and now they're all split up.
So Strome's face-off percentage, though, I'm liking 55. So it looks like he can stick at center. He's been a center, but like that's good to see face-off wise that he's doing well. McMichael, on the other hand, I'm seeing a 35% face-off percentage. So that's a bad one there. And then Matthew Phillips.
Not too hot right now.
Yeah, 1 goal, 3 assists in 13 games, 10 minutes of time on ice. Is the magic kind of gone there?
Was he not the one did he not score like in your guys' first game? Oh no,
He
you
was
guys
their
got shut
best
out
player.
the first game.
He's their best player to start the year.
He was their best player in like the first like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
I just think this guy needs like a bit of he needs to get comfortable with his line mates. We need to make up for his size somehow in the sense that we need to put him with players that can do that. I don't know how we're gonna figure that out, but I want to get that.
Has he been playing on that third line?
Third or fourth line.
Yeah.
He's been bouncing up and down that. He hasn't played top 6 minutes since he got moved off the Strome line. I mean, if you look at it like that in the sense that the rest of the team is playing better, maybe it's worth the sacrificial lamb. It just kind of sucks that the story is kind of drowned out. Anyway, that's my capital spiel. You guys can do your thing now. You guys can.
That was 10 minutes?
That was
Dude,
10 minutes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
If you want to keep going, man, I mean, I like to talk about the Caps.
No,
It gives us a nice like reprise,
Yeah, it's like a vacation away from the usual
Leafland
stuff here.
Yeah.
But
what's up with the Hershey Bears, Brian?
I have no idea. But I will say this: we do have a better points percentage than you guys. Like, because we have 2 games in hand on you guys.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So,
You're probably gonna have a couple more games in hand. We don't play till Friday now. I think like 4 by the end of the week. By Friday.
I think by then we'd be caught up, so it'd be 15-15.
Wait. Oh, you guys have I was thinking about that one wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at the Hershey Bears now. They brought them up. Obi Cabell played 11 games for them. What the heck? He was in the 8 this whole time.
Yep. We called him when Backstrom retired.
And then Miroshnichenko's got 6 points in 12 games. That's all right. That's a decent level start for him.
That's I don't know. I'm banking on him and Leonard.
First season. It's his first season in the A. Like we're only 12 games in. It's it's all right.
Especially moving from that European ice, the big ice.
Yeah.
Trying to transition. It's not for everybody. You know what I mean?
He's outscoring Obi Cabell. Obi Cabell had 3 points in 11 games for Hershey.
Ooh. Yikes.
He's being a bit better. He's being a bit better in DC. I think he has 3 points in like 4 games or something like that. So we'll take it.
There you go.
Okay,
there you go. We will take it indeed. All right. Leaf talk, I guess. Then.
Yeah, this is where we start.
I guess so.
Give you guys.
So Ryan, you didn't catch any of the game last night, right?
No, I didn't.
No.
I caught a
Okay.
bit of the Calgary game though.
The
Who?
Calgary. Who did Calgary play?
Ottawa.
No, you
Yeah.
guys. No, like Calgary.
Oh, like Calgary
Yeah,
versus
the
us.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
a
you're
bit of
saying
a
okay. That was the
that was a
barn
bit of a
burner.
shit show. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So, what games did we play this week, Dave?
We
Did
start
we
with Tampa.
have? We had the Tampa come back again, the deja vu game.
Yeah.
Um,
Then it was the
the
Sens
Sens
capitulation.
let down. Yeah,
And then back-to-back wins somehow.
then barn burner, and then the Canucks game. So by far, Canucks
Stable
game
win.
number one. That Lightning win was pretty cathartic too, though. It feels you get a little extra oomph from beating the Lightning.
In terms of full team victory, it was definitely the Canucks game. Like 100%.
100%.
That was 60 minutes of solid hockey from the boys, and
Yeah.
great to see. The Tampa win, 100%, definitely the most exciting, just because of like the highs and lows. But that's kind of like what you expect from this team.
It's been a very it's been a roller coaster team right now.
Yeah, 100%. So this team, from the start of the week to the end of the week, I think that's probably the biggest. That's the biggest story going forward, and it's how different they look from the game against Tampa to yesterday night. Big thing. Let's just put it right off the bat. Ryan Reeves should probably not play another game for this team, unfortunately. The experiment didn't work. Let's leave it at that, right? We had more fights last night in the game that he didn't play than
we had as many.
We had as many fights because we only had 2 going in,
Yeah.
right? So listen, Ryan, if you're out there and you're listening, dude, I don't think NHL hockey, playing wise, is for you anymore. Maybe you want to ride out the rest of the year sitting in the press box, but I think after that, dude, you might have to call it. It was a fun time. Those first 2 games, it was a good look, but after that,
Dave,
it
you're breaking
wasn't
up
good.
with him already?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, dude.
12 goals against, none for. He just looks outmatched in whenever he's on the ice. That fourth line though, without him on it, adding Bobby McMahon on there looked
it's actually usable. Oh my God.
Ridiculously good. So much more. Like finally we have like this team was meant to roll 4 lines. I think you have to. You can't just leave a player on the bench for 45 minutes a night, basically, not even 55 minutes a night.
If you want to be a team that pushes pace, you don't have a choice but to roll 4 lines, because if you roll 3 lines and try and push the pace, you're going to run your guys into the ground, which is what we were doing.
Yeah. So that the fourth line had a fantastic game against Vancouver after a lot of shit was being thrown David Kamp's way, especially, and
rightfully so. Like he wasn't good.
He was not good. But yesterday
I'm a president of the David Kamp fan club, and I'll tell you, he was not good.
We've been singing David Kamp's praise now for the past couple of years, and on this podcast especially, we've sang his praises. But he was awful, actually, genuinely, to start the year, and that's not all on Ryan Reeves. Like a lot of people were saying, like, because of Ryan Reeves, David can't play. Like, no, he was actually like he wasn't in the right positions at times. He had
even on like the PK, where Ryan Reeves is not in the PK.
Yeah,
there was 2 times specifically. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it might have been the Tampa game where Kampf was blocking an app, like just he had his stick in a lane where nobody was. It was on a power play. He was trying. Yeah. He was trying to defend the point. He thought Hedman. Yeah. He thought Hedman was at the point on the power play. Meanwhile, Hedman's in the middle of the ice, and he had his stick lane in nowhere.
It was like,
and I'm like, that's not David Kamp.
No,
that's not
no
him.
awareness. Yeah, 100%.
Who are you, and what have you done with the real David Kamp?
He genuinely looked like, for the first 12 games or 13 games of the season, he looked like the Monstars from Space Jam had taken all his powers, his defensive prowess away.
That was his Par Lindholm impression. That's what I say.
That was his Par Lindholm impression. Yeah. So that fourth line yesterday night, really impressed, especially after I think this past week was easily their worst week of games, like their worst stretch of games against Tampa, against Ottawa, and against Calgary. They were being bullied into the crust of the Scotiabank Arena. They had a really good game though yesterday. 2 goals from that fourth line, one from Gregor and one from Kemp, who hadn't scored since last February, I think, or maybe it was earlier than that.
Wow.
So good for him for getting off the schneid, and great for Noah Gregor, who looks like a weapon on that fourth line. I don't want to like, go all out, but all season Noah Gregor has looked noticeable, especially on that god awful fourth line. He's the only one that's looked
He just skates, man.
usable.
He just skates,
exactly.
bro.
He just keeps his
Yeah.
feet moving. And he has an underrated shot. Like, did you see that
Yeah.
snipe over Thatcher
Yeah.
Demko, dude? Like, crazy. So
He can
shit,
lean
man.
on it, man. That's how he
You-
scored his first goal of the season too. Like that's the patented play. You know what it kind of looks like? And by no means am I making this comparison, but it's like the Phil Kessel, just the streak in on the off wing or on your wing and just
Yeah,
snipe it. That's all
just
it was.
snipe it.
That's
Yeah.
all it was. I like it.
You guys-
I like it. It's
You guys
vintage.
think you guys think Gregor would get top 6 minutes on the Sharks?
Yeah,
Well,
100%. He'd be top
you know what?
line on
You know
the
what's
Sharks.
funny though is he did get top 6 minutes on the Sharks, and if you looked at what Sharks fans are saying when we got him, it was that this guy sucks. This guy can't shoot a puck to save his life. This guy has stone hands, and I mean, like they're not.
Well, the
they're still
stone
not
hands
wrong.
are there. The stone
Yeah,
hands
like they're
are
not
there.
wrong, but he's when he's been putting it on net, he's been finding the right spots this time. It
What's-
honestly, the comparison I made was 2014-15, or sorry, 2015-16 Michael Grabner on the
Grabner?
Leafs.
100%.
And now the problem, Dave, was Michael Grabner was on our first line, or like
Yeah.
in our top 6.
Yeah.
Noah Gregor is on the fourth line.
Listen,
I'm sure Michael
that
Grabner
is-
would have looked great on our fourth line in those years, right?
That is the perfect position for like Noah Gregor. If he's
Yeah.
anywhere up in the lineup, we're definitely not singing his praises like this.
Yeah.
He definitely was beating the allegations of the he's all feet no hands type of guy, all feet no finish. Because he does definitely have the stone hands though. 100%. When he gets on a
Yeah.
break, it's almost like it's just gonna go right into the goal.
I think it was against Calgary where he had a break and the puck disappeared. Like it ended up in the corner because he was just skating and he looked down and he's like, it's gone.
It's gone. It's nowhere to be found. 100%. I get it for sure.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
let's give credit where it's due.
Credit where it's due, man.
He's had some good performances. Now let's work up another. I think the perfect way to start would like to go with this team is to like start at the bottom of the lineup. You know what I mean? And then work our way up, and then maybe we could talk about some defensemen after. But the next line after that third line, probably the best line over the past week, I'd argue. Like, well,
most surprising for sure.
Yeah.
If you looked at that line just on a piece of paper, you would not think we got what we have so far.
And
right?
that line
it looks like a tiny line. Like it's
it's a small
What's
line.
the line,
So
Dave? What's the line?
Nick Robertson, Max Domi, and Calle Yarncroke as your
There is no
babysitter.
beef on that line. There's no beef on that line at all.
There's some small boys. They're small,
All gas,
but
no
fight.
breaks.
They you know what? No meat on that line. But I'll tell you one thing: they are feisty as all hell.
Yeah,
those guys will get it. All three of them will get into the corners and probably.
Is this are we calling this the Chihuahua line? Please no.
They are.
Actually,
they are
I'm
the Chihuahua.
Sorry. We're not. Yeah.
A lot of bark, and there's some bite there.
A lot
too.
of bark. Yeah.
You know, we mentioned it before. Max Domi did get into to scrap after I don't know.
Nicky Robbie got exploded.
Yeah, that's a borderline. I think it's a bit of a borderline, headshot type of hit. Whatever, we could go into the minutia there, but glad to see Max Domi stepping up for his line mate. That just goes to show me that those guys care about each other. Like that's what it looks like. That's all we wanted to see. Like make a semblance of you guys actually give a shit about the people that you are making your livelihood with. That's all we asked for.
And Dave, I think the thing is too, though, they didn't make it like it didn't look like a show. It looked like they actually cared.
Yeah.
Right?
It wasn't.
I think that's the thing too.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you can't have it be a performance because everyone can see through that, right?
Yeah.
That looked like they gave a shit. Don't touch my guy. Don't touch my young kiddo there. I'm gonna beat your ass, even if I'm 5 inches shorter than you. Right?
Yeah. Did you see on the broadcast, Cristian, one of the talking points? And listen, I don't want to make fun of the Sportsnet broadcast, but
we don't have to. They do it themselves.
dude, they went from years and years, and I'll point out in particular, I'll name drop him on this podcast. Come debate me, Kevin, if you want to. But Kevin Bieksa, for years, has said how he wanted to see this team, stick up for each other, because that was his role on Vancouver. He was the guy to stick up for the Sedins, for whoever on that team. And then he goes on live TV on a national broadcast and be like, "Listen, I know they stuck up for each other, but they could have done it with a better frame of mind going. They didn't have to take the instigator penalties." It's like, Kevin, what are you talking about, dude? Like, you were advocating for that for the past 3 years that you were on Hockey Night in Canada, that's what they should be doing. And now that they're doing it, you're like, oh, they could do it a little bit better. I agree. He did have a fair point to say, like, listen, just wait for the willing combatants to get set so you don't take the instigator penalty, which unfortunately he had a point because they burnt the Leafs, twice last night. But dude, in the heat of the game, you can't be like, oh, I have to wait for my opponent to drop his gloves and be looking at me. That's not. He knows it better than anybody. That's not how the game works, right?
No, I like
sorry,
that
that was my.
I'll be honest. I don't give a crap about the instigator penalty in a regular season game on a team that should make the playoffs with their eyes closed. Right? That's what the Leafs are supposed to be. The team that just
100%.
gets in no matter what. Take the instigator, even if it costs us the game.
We just ride out for each other.
Yeah, well, exactly. Everyone in Toronto has been talking, but not even just Kevin. Like, that's the one defense I can give him, is it hasn't been just Kevin asking for this. We've been asking for this. Everyone's been asking for this. And if you're Kevin, you can't reverse your frame of mind here and your take, right? So
now in a playoff,
I think we all in a playoff game, yes,
completely different.
Yes, because we've seen that story, not the instigator penalty, but just guys popping the steam out of their heads and just going berserk. We've seen that too many times. Yeah. So that's a different story. Third line's been great. Domi, specifically, Dave, we noticed from that first game he played center, way more engaged. I don't care if he sucks defensively, even at center. He sucks defensively at wing.
Yeah, I'd rather him be at center.
He looks way better at center.
Driving the play. Yeah, whatever. Just do it.
He looks way more comfortable in the neutral zone, like pushing the puck forward in the middle of the ice than on the half boards. His passing has been fantastic. He has an insane backhand sauce. Yeah, we saw it more than once. Right?
That game against Ottawa that they ended up blowing.
Yeah.
Maybe lost in all the talk was that tying goal to it was Domi to Robertson. Dude, if the Leafs ended up winning that game, that thing's going on highlight reels for the next up until Friday at least. Unfortunately, because they lost, a lot of those highlights became lowlights for the Leafs. Man, all three of them just look to have such a genuine connection with each other.
Yeah, it's just so surprising.
I will say this though. One player that did make a lot of highlights was Klingberg that game.
Oh yeah.
My goodness.
Brian, hold on. We can't get to the negative yet. There's too much positive.
There's a lot of positive.
On the parade yet. Right on the parade yet, Brian. Don't worry. We can all laugh at that part in a bit.
That play you sent me just. I don't know. It's engraved in my head.
That clip was terrible. That clip was terrible. Okay, Yarncroke, I don't think we have to go in depth on Yarncroke. Yarncroke is Yarncroke. He's going to score his 20 goals. He's going to be the teacher's pet with Keefe. He's the Kerfoot replacement, but he actually pots goals. That's kind of it. He's good. He's awesome.
Mr. Stable. That's all. That is exactly what you ask from the third line winger on the line of, the Chihuahuas, let's say, those Max Domi and Nick Robertson are the Chihuahuas, a lot of bark with some bite, basically. And Yarncroke, all he has to be is just Mr. Stable, and
he's got them on the leash.
he has done that perfectly as of
Yeah.
like right now. There are definitely some warning signs on, like, I don't think that line is the greatest defensively, but if they're playing as hot as they are, you have to keep rolling them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like their
The
goal.
idea is that the fourth line becomes a checking line, right?
Yeah.
That's the idea here. So I'm fine if they're not the best defensively because you got to have some trust in your fourth line. Because what was Keefe doing before the Reeves decision is after every goal we'd score, he'd throw out the fourth line,
The fourth line, and
and
then
it would burn us,
yeah,
right?
more times than not they would
Yeah,
concede, right?
yeah. That was
Like
a really terrible trend. But now I would be okay with our fourth line going out after a goal.
100%,
Okay.
100%. Do
Really
you want
quick
to?
on like Nicky Robbie.
Oh, you want to keep going? Yeah.
Yeah, just because
We
I
can
don't think
keep
we
going.
got into him there. Like his
Having a
4
great
games, this is the best 4 game stretch we've seen of him in the NHL. Right?
It's just
He looks.
it's just consistency.
Brian's
That's all
laughing
it
because
is.
it's like, how many times can we do
No,
this? Right? Like we've
it
been doing
is.
this
You're
for
right.
3 years, but he looks comfortable and his game is quieted down. Right? He
Mhm.
doesn't look like he's running at 1,000,000 miles per hour. That was always the biggest thing. Is sometimes he would overskate his pathing, right? His pathing would be terrible, and then he'd have to compensate and try and back check, and he'd be lost. Like a lot of things like that.
Especially from someone who, like, I wouldn't be able to talk on this personally, but a lot of people who are smarter than me said that I think it might have been you as well, Cristian, who said that his skating, the way that he skated, was
If you just look at him,
inefficient.
he's very like he's bent over, right?
Yeah, he's going
He
forward.
doesn't
He's
skate
like
with
a
his
skier.
back up. Yeah,
He looks like he's
he just
skiing, right?
he's like that's how I used to skate in like house league, but like he's the
Yeah.
NHLer, like he does it at an NHL level, but like that's like it's not efficient at all. It's not efficient at all. You have to put in that many more steps to like if you look at Willie, he takes long strides. If you look at Nicky Robbie, it's chop, 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 chop. Right? So he's not an efficient skater at all. But kudos to him. Good start. We'll see if it continues. Outside of that, sorry, Brian.
If Robertson plays at the pace he is now, or like just like a little bit step under, sure, like 80% of what he is now to 100% of now, is he gonna be in the league? Like, do you see him staying on your third line permanently? Because how
If
many
he plays
times have
how
you
he's
seen?
been in the past 4 games, like I know he's done the yo-yo, but this time it does look different. It does look different.
I think the yo-yo also wasn't part of his ability to stay healthy. Exactly. And as soon as I saw him get lit up in the second
I was
period,
like, oh my god, the shoulder.
I was like, dude, the way that he bounced right back up gave me so much like pause. I was like, wow, like thank God, that could have been catastrophic there.
You sent a link in our chat. You sent a Twitter link from Maple Leafs. It was the Noah Gregor celebration thing,
belly goal.
meme. But you sent that, and I thought, because I hadn't noticed Nicky Robbie after that hit for a little bit, I thought it was going to be Nicky Robbie will be held out of the rest. I thought it was going to be that. So I clicked on it right away. I'm like, oh my God. And then I saw it wasn't that. But anyways.
Yeah.
Bertuzzi and Knies both have been good. We'll see if that continues. We won't go in depth on them. The defense.
Dude, yeah.
Okay, sorry. You got something to say there? Yeah.
Quickly on the big four, dude. William Nylander is on.
Dave, what did he?
An astronomical
oh my God!
Right now, making our takes from the summer look obsolete.
Oh my God!
Like absolutely.
What was our take in there? I think I said I'm like
under 10.
Pay him. I think you said it cannot be 10. I said it can be 10 flat. That was our take.
If it is 10 now, if it is 10 right now, I will become a welder, a smelter, and I'm making a statue for him outside of Scotiabank Arena as soon as the pen goes on paper.
Dude, if he signs for 10 or less, we're gonna have to wear our jerseys, go on the subway, and just sing his praises for like a day straight, and hopefully run into him on the way to a game. Yeah, we'll just do that for 12 hours straight, and then we'll see him on the subway on his way to a game.
Yeah, it's funny too now because all that contract talk has stopped as well. Like I haven't heard
because we're just enjoying him being insane.
You can't say anything. It's every time he scores, it adds an extra zero onto the contract.
Like, there's no conversation to be had. It's not like, do you pay him the money? Is he actually bad? But he doesn't defend. Everyone's shut up. Even the old dudes, the boomers, are like,
They're enjoying
William
it.
Nylander's good. Everyone has come around to the fact that William Nylander's insane. I think he's third in NHL scoring right now. Like,
That's crazy.
holy
Something like
crap.
that.
Wow.
Holy crap. Yeah, that was Willie, you're the goddamn best. Okay, Klingberg, not the goddamn best.
Bad.
Not the goddamn best.
From
It
one
turns out when
great
you wear
season-
number 3 on the Leafs, what was the last player we've had to wear number 3 and be good on the Leafs? It's not been a good lineage right now.
Oh my God.
It's been
Hall,
Klingberg,
Phaneuf.
Justin Hall, Dion Phaneuf, and now we're like already gone. That's already 15 years of Leafs history right there. It's not been good.
I want to say it was like Garnet Exelby was the last one before him.
And,
Was
dude,
not
and
number
he was
3?
like, yeah, I think he wore 3, but like if Garnet
Bad.
Exelby like
Bad.
yeah, like it's not good. It's not good. So like he's not going to be banished for the Shadow Realm, unfortunately. But he is also not beating the "you suck at defense" allegations like Ryan Reeves. So, but we're gonna have to make do with him. He actually didn't look bad last night. Like I didn't notice him terribly bad last night. I know Brian was referencing the clip that I sent of him in the Calgary game where he's skating backwards in his own zone, blows a tire, gets up and just kind of stares and lets a goal be scored. He needs to be the number 6. And we don't have a roster that puts him as the number 6 right now. That's just kind of that.
You're right.
That's just kind of that. The only like there's a world where maybe we jettison him off at the deadline to make cap work for a different deal, but I'm not betting on it. Not betting on it.
Yeah, it has to work. I mean, him on the power play definitely, especially last night. I don't think they didn't get anything off the power play, but their power play looked effective, which I'm fine with. If you're
effective is the right way to say it.
Yeah, effective. They were generating chances. They had that one power play where Demko robbed them 3 times, I think, or twice at least. They had one of them where they were bad, whatever. As long as you look engaged and relatively effective, because I think one of their power plays expired and the second power play line was on and they kept them hemmed in. And that was the line that scored I think it was the tying goal, the 2-2 goal. As long as you look engaged and you look like you could be effective and you're not getting the results, I think that's good enough for me right now, especially after the week that he had, because it's basically been this past week where it's been
the lowlights.
All the every single John Klingberg highlight was a low light this past week.
I'm gonna. Sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
It's possible that like he just pulls his shit together this week and he gets the Domi treatment, right? Like the way
it's
you guys
still yes, you're right. That's a great, yes. Like there's still a path, but so I think the thing with Klingberg is he's had a hip surgery, maybe even 2. So his might be a health thing at this point he was kept out of a game. He also missed all of preseason except 1 game. I'm worried with him that it isn't fixable in the sense that the guy is just kind of like he's not the same player physically. Like he cannot physically be the same player. I'm gonna rebuttal on the Klingberg on the power play thing where he needs to shoot more. He doesn't shoot on the power play.
He does.
He doesn't shoot. And when we talk about the Tampa power play, I think that's the one right now. It used to be Washington that we'd say is the model power play. It's Tampa now. All 5 guys on that unit are weapons. They are threats. John Klingberg is not a threat right now on the power play. And it makes it easier to cover the point or not cover the point because you know he's not going to shoot.
Which was the Morgan Rielly debate.
Yes. And I had seen Klingberg highlights in the summer because I wanted to answer the question for myself. Is he a threat on the power play? I thought he was when I looked at highlights. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's him being told not to shoot, just be a facilitator because the other 4 guys are insane. But we need, I know, and this sounds so stupid. We need 5 guys who are insane, not 4, because that's what Tampa has. Hedman is a threat and a half, and we don't have that.
It might also just be like, if we talk about like you mentioned it last time with the classes, maybe he just doesn't feel like he's in that category to
empowered to do it.
Empowered to shoot. Like you have Austin Matthews on your left.
Yeah,
he's calling for the one-timer.
The point is, you get a defenseman good enough that fits into that
can feel empowered to shoot. Yeah,
exactly. And listen, if I felt that Klingberg wasn't in positions to shoot, that's different. But I feel like there's been many opportunities where he's passed up a
There's been
shot
quite a
because
few.
he's like, I'm John Klingberg, that's William Nylander. Let me get that guy to shoot. You need a guy who has the confidence that says, no, I am John Klingberg. I am a
I
threat.
can
I'm
shoot.
going to shoot.
And another thing as
It
well,
makes everyone else more dangerous when that happens.
and you have potentially one of the best net front presence in the league right now, standing in front of the goalie every single time you're on the power play in John Tavares. Even if it's not like, even if it doesn't fly by the goalie, you hit the pads, John Tavares is right there to pick up a rebound. And
now,
then
to say all this though,
plus,
everyone, and even Matthews when he's the net front, because sometimes him and Tavares switch just in the middle of the chaos. But all of this to say, we're not fixing this problem this season.
no, it's not happening.
It just kind of is what it is.
The fix is to throw Morgan Riley on the PP1.
Morgan Riley doesn't have the weapon of a shot. That's why we were in this predicament to begin with. He had it in the playoffs, but it wasn't a weapon. It was more of like a,
it was a Bouchard shot.
a tickler. No, the Bouch bomb is a bomb. The Bouch bomb is a clap.
No, this one's like
Morgan Riley is a sifter. His is a catapult, right?
It's a seeing eye shot.
It's a seeing eye shot. Thank you, Dave.
That's what it was.
It's the seeing eye shot, but that's not sustainable. Like he was on insane run in the playoffs. And I love Morgan Riley. He's been insane in the playoffs, but it's not the weapon that we're looking for on PP1. And I actually think him not playing on PP1 has been great for him defensively because that's just more time for him to play 5-on-5. He's looked
very good.
He's looked and I think it's helped his stamina that he's not had to put in that power play
where
time.
we don't have to burn him out by April.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So I think we're stuck with Klingberg PP1. It's going to be up to him to get the confidence to be a weapon. We'll see how that goes. We haven't got to goaltending. Sammy looked really good last night. Sammy looked terrible against Tampa. Wall looked bad against Ottawa. He looked okay against Calgary.
He had a midweek.
One of them is going to get the Friday game against Detroit. One of them is going to get the Sunday game. I guess let's throw 1 minute into that. Leafs are going to Sweden. Friday game at 2 p.m. against Detroit. Sunday game 8 a.m. Minnesota.
Yeah, our time
Minnesota.
8 a.m.
Yeah, Eastern time. That's exciting. I'm excited for not afternoon hockey, for morning hockey on Sunday.
Morning hockey.
I'll be excited because it's a one and done. I'm happy that it's not every Sunday like this, but for one Sunday, I'll make it a fun day. Make some pancakes or something. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So both of them definitely need to improve. Both of I think that was a great bounce back performance from Sammy. I think he'll probably end up getting the Detroit start and Wall the Minnesota start. Just ride the hot hand for as long as you can until one of the two prove that they could take the reins, basically.
I think it'll be good for Sammy's confidence too if you say, hey, you're getting the next start, right? Then he seems to be the guy where that matters more to him, right?
Yeah, and just don't blow it, basically, right? Don't blow it. I think other than that, we've exhausted everything, dude. Brian, we could hop out.
Take us out, Brian.
Shout out to Fubo TV. We can watch Hockey Night in Canada. And if you want to get your Nikita Zadorov jersey, they'll be on clearance very soon, and NHLShop.ca. That's the place to go. Thank you for listening, and that's a wrap.